Today, I'm going to show you how to process your hardstyle leads so you can sound like a professional. Let's get into it. Step into your interface. So I have a project open here, and it's basically just a remake of Wild Styles and TNT Exist. I made my own little version of it using my brand new Hardstyle leads pack for Spire, which you can find in the link down in the description. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys how to properly layer your sounds so you can get them to sound really full and really euphoric and not cluttery in the mix using these presets. And the first preset I'm going to show you is called Attack 1. Now all the effects are turned off so you can hear them as dry as possible. So here we go. That's Attack 1. This is Trompeta. This is Hard Trancer. This is Square Chords. This is Mega Chords. Those are all the leads in this segment. And what I want to show you is what they sound like together. It makes it sound really huge. Really nice and very full and in your face. So the one thing you want to do with these sounds is dissect what is the purpose of each one. For this example, right, the mega chords, I'm gonna solo it, and this is mega chords just with the Fruity parametric EQ and Soothe, which Soothe is only making the high-end frequencies be a lot softer. You can do this without Soothe. You can just put on a Pro EQ and make a bunch of different bell curves that are dynamic bands at like the 4K region, the 6K region, anywhere there where there's a lot of S-ing, or you can use a de-esser. I'd like Soothe because Soothe is a lot cleaner at doing this, and it just sounds a lot better from Soothe. But here's what it sounds like with the EQs. Without the EQs. Now, if I put them together with the lead chords here, the square chords only has a parametric EQ, and I am shaping down some of the upper frequencies so they're not fighting for space. And I only want that mid-range in this square chord. Because when I put them together now, they sound almost as one. And now if we move on to Hard Trancer has an EQ too. I'm doing pretty much the same thing, only I'm retaining some of the upper mids in the 1K to 2K region. And by bringing down the upper frequencies, I'm making more room for those chords, the mega chords, high frequencies, and together they sound like this. If I mute it, now the next one is Trompeta, and Trompeta sounds like this. Again, a little bit of the same. It's nothing too crazy. You don't want to over process your leads. But when you hear them together, it starts to really stack up. And now you get your like big hardstyle sound. And the attack, there's nothing really there. It's just the attack. So it's just an extra, a little tick to make everything kind of cut through the mix more. Now let's get on to the lead bus. And this is very important because all of them get processed together. So I have Soothe here, and Soothe is just making the upper frequencies a lot more gentle to the ears. So this way it comes in very Very nice and friendly. So I'm gonna mute all the effects and just keep Soothe on so you can slowly hear the process of what's happening to the lead chain. Now the next thing is a de-esser, and I'm using FabFilter Pro DS. Is one of my favorite ones to use, and I like to use the vocal de-essing setting because it really nails the super saws without making them really shitty. And basically all I did was move the EQs over here where it's going to be, and that's my range altogether. And I adjusted the threshold, the range, and I kept everything to all around and split band because that's what I preferred. And with that on, you'll hear that it makes such a big difference and it's less harsh. I'm gonna keep it off and then I'm gonna turn it on. So you can hear it makes it just friendlier in the upper frequencies. And then the next thing I have is an EQ just to cut out any lows that are happening in the leads and a bit of those muddy frequencies in the 170, 180-ish range. Not friendly frequencies that I personally prefer to have, so I just kind of shaved it down. Same thing with the upper frequencies again. And the next thing I added was a diamond EQ from Studio DMI. This is my favorite EQ. It really helps finalize any of my processing on my leads or my drums or my bass lines. Basically what I did at the 6K range, I boosted it up just a little bit. So I have a little bit more high mids. And then my low mids, I boosted it up at 120 so that this way we can boost up some of those lower mid frequencies and really get the leads to sound really nice and full with body, especially when the bass line plays together with this. I also high passed it at 40 hertz and around 24K, just so we can shave off any of the extra frequencies that we don't need in this lead. And then I added a P controller, and I'm gonna play what it sounds like with the diamond EQ so you can get it first. But what I'm using P controller for is to control the Valhalla room, which is just a simple setting. It's just about 7.5 seconds of a decay time with a very short pre-delay because I want it to sound like it's happening pretty close by after the notes. And it's at 20%, which isn't a lot really, but with that P controller moving the dry wet knob, it makes it so that there's a suction effect and you hear the dry signal first, and as the note finishes it comes back up, kind of like a big whoosh sort of effect. So you hear that, it makes it feel very ethereal like and nice and huge. And the other thing that I have here is a Fruity Timeless 3, not Fruity Timeless, a FabFilter Timeless 3. And I didn't attach the P controller there because it has its own ducking feature on it, which is very handy. And I put that up to 68 and I set the delay to 1/8, added triplet and added some diffusion so it feels almost like a reverb too, some dynamics and a little bit of drive. I also shaped the stereo width to my liking. This is a personal preference thing, and I kept the mix at 37 so it sounds like this. So it feels nice and huge, especially when you have the bass line included. And then the final thing was an Ozone 9 imager. And what I'm doing with the Ozone 9 imager is just spreading the upper frequencies so that they're wide in the stereo width. But then as soon as you get to the mid range, you start to get closer to the mono, and anything below 70 hertz, it goes completely mono. So this way it's compatible in mono speakers and all that good jazz. But this is what it sounds like completely. Now, if you hear it with the bass and a bit of pitch modulation, which every sound on here has its own pitch modulation attached, except for the bass line. The bass line, I'm doing it through notes. And when you hear them together, it really makes up that full hardstyle, euphoric sort of feeling. So once I turn on these effects on the bass lines, you'll hear it sounds nice and full, and it really makes that euphoric feeling come alive once you play all the sounds together. So I hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial and learned something cool. Please let me know if there was anything interesting that you learned. Let me know down in the comments. And the sample pack is now available on my website. The link is in the description. It's about 30 presets, and each lead has its own unique sort of style to it, so that it makes your tracks that much more unique. Some of the sounds were inspired by Mist, Brennan Hart, Wild Styles, and a bunch of other hardstyle guys. So I hope you guys enjoy the pack, and let me know if there's any other videos you would like me to make, and I will see you on the next video.